You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Pace Radio Show. We're live here at paceradio.net. What do you got going on there, Tamara?
Oh, you know, the usual. Have to have
the usual.
The usual.
Doing some rolling.
Just a little bit of rolling. Yeah. And I mean, I still use my blue zigzags. I'm still like an old blue zigzag, even though I've got a beautiful sponsor from Canadian Lumber for my, substitution program. But those papers aren't for me. I don't use any of the stuff that comes in for the club, like for the organization, right? So I went and bought some. I ripped my room apart to start the story to make this little area. So I actually had an area where I could actually like put my stuff, and then I found my little loop, from growing my little magnifying glass with the lid, right? Because it had been stuck away in a box, and I had a bunch of stuff anyway. So I was checking the trichomes because I went out to some Sovereign Land on Monday and got some meds from there, but I had also purchased some meds from the legal store. So I popped my little eye into that to see what the trichomes look like and what the difference would be.
Yeah, you're doing a comparison. Oh, okay.
Right. The legal weed had nothing on it.
What's that?
The legal weed had nothing.
Nothing.
You could see the red hairs and stuff, but there was like, you could tell that it had been machine trimmed, and they had machine trimmed all the trichomes off. So I'm looking at this stuff going, oh no, I'm not getting anything out of this stuff because it's got nothing in it. It's just carcinogenic plant matter.
So you couldn't see any
oil and hash and all these things, and that's how they're doing it. They're just steaming and bouncing and making all their product and then selling out the weed too. So you can guarantee that they were illegal drug dealers.
I think in the old days, like a long time ago, well, if you took some cannabis and you basically made got it so that you could make some hash, took the trichomes off it, and then sold the bud afterwards. Those were beaver bucks or something like that.
Those were you're going to get your hand cut off bucks, is what that would have happened.
Well, that's probably why, because a beaver would do that to you.
No, seriously, that would be like that's a crap move. But that's what some of these cash croppers did back in the day. They was like, oh, legal. The good thing about legalization is, I mean, they might be steaming and trimming and doing whatever the same shady shit they were doing back then, but at least it's not laced with anything, right? And you're not getting fucking 90 fucking pound, like 90 grams of seeds in a pound like I've done in the past, or it's moldy, or you know what I mean? Like I've had so many bags of garbage come through my Compassion Club when I first started.
You told me about that. Yeah,
just ridiculous. And like I said, even once legalization happened too, like you just can't. A single person can't keep up with how many strains are out there and actually keep a variety enough to keep people coming just to your house, right? But there are, like I said, there's a lot of sovereign nations that are out there doing things a little differently than the legal market, and they should be. Honestly.
Yeah, I like the fact that they are having the higher milligrammage. As long I still like a product that's tested for its THC and a trusted testing source.
Right.
Because like I've had 500 milligram bag of a product that didn't do anything, and I've had 400 milligrams knock me on my ass. So
right. Yeah.
Both of them were from the legacy market. So
and the thing of it is too, you have to remember what the product is going into that, right? So what the plant was, what that plant turned into, whether it was RSO, whether it was live rosin, whether it was put into a honey oil, like, you know what I mean? Like, depending on how it was processed and then how you use it. It can be made butter, coconut oil, olive oil. There's so many ways of infusing, right? But again, like, if the product's not good that you're you know, using
Well,
from the
yeah,
manufacturer, it's a crap.
garbage in, garbage in, garbage out, right?
Like it does, like, and again, people think that you can use shake and families and stock. No, you can't. All you're doing is pulling out green and making it taste like weed and green. There's no, like, it's just nothing.
The I've made some shatter out of some good sugar trimmings, but
Well, sugar trimming is different. I'm talking stem and the fan leaf,
yeah,
right?
that
That's
stuff,
just
yeah.
garbage. We've had people. I've had
Not for
people.
this purpose. It's
I've
got
had
other
people.
uses.
Well, I've had people say to me like buckets of stems and said, "Here, you got." I'm like, "What the fuck am I going to do with
Oh yeah,
these?
no.
I don't want your stems.
I
You
used
want
to
families?
sometimes
Like,
I
how am I going
used
to do that?"
yeah. I like to keep sometimes the if it's all still together, you see the shaping of the plant without all the leaves on it and everything.
Yeah.
But
Like
yeah.
even those few that I have in the kitchen, like this, you know, they still have buds hanging off them. They've been in my kitchen for a year, right? And I was like, eh.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
Like I took one off the other day and brought it in my bedroom to smoke it. It was fine. Like it didn't
yeah,
taste bad. It was like, I mean, it's yeah, it wasn't
yeah.
bad.
I've got a little bit left to trim, but I just haven't had any desire to trim it over the last couple weeks. So
Well, you've been busy. You got
yeah,
lots on.
the just so you know, I got some stuff for us to discuss tonight as well.
Oh, good.
About some medical cannabis patients getting involved in something. We'll get into that. Some political stuff at the head of our federal government when it comes to cannabis going on in the House of Commons.
Oh, this is
What else we
news.
got? Oh,
I didn't.
cannabis sales in the U.S. We got.
I must have had my head in a rock somewhere if I'm not seeing anything political about cannabis.
Well, you know,
I'm
there's been so much lately of I've been able to talk about and being in the news on the U.S. side of things when it comes to cannabis, and because of the election and everything going on, and just so you know, a pro-cannabis person backed out today down there, but they withdrew their name. But as far as that thing that I mentioned about the patients here in Canada. They say that this is a Canadian company is looking for 1,000 Canadian medical cannabis patients to do a study.
Oh, why don't you
An
just have
observa-
I'm sure they wouldn't mind giving us, giving out our names. They don't mind, mailing us stuff and confidentiality whenever they feel like it. So
yeah. Now this is a company. It's not Health Canada giving out our names.
no, but I'm just, I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah. The observational study looking at the potential therapeutic use of medicinal cannabis for issues like pain, sleep, anxiety, depression, and epilepsy. So, we're always saying we need some, they always saying we need studies. So, at least we're seeing a Canadian company that is doing a study.
That's terrific. But I don't fall under any of those categories.
No, yeah, neither do I. Well, pain.
Pain for sure.
Yeah.
But I also, I mean, they'd have to, like, if they were supplying the cannabis, and maybe the cannabis they would give me, but like I said, like I find it diverts, but it doesn't, like, I had to take morphine to go to work today. I had not a lick of sleep last night. I was awake all night with
I've
this.
seen your posts.
Like I'm a misery. Like I said, I've had no sleep. Anyway, but yeah, there wasn't enough weed last night, and I held out until 3 o'clock in the morning before I took that fucking morphine, and I was smoking my vape, and like I was just like I went and put some butter that I've got in the fridge in a cup of tea. I don't ever do shit like that. I take some Daryl's CBCs too, because he says take some CBCs, try this out. The icy pot, okay, but I've got pressure points on my shoulder here that if I touch them, it's like even if you touch it.
I seen your post with the picture of the icy pot.
Yeah, that's that, and like I said, between that and the morphine, because like I said, I can't sit at work all day and smoke cannabis. If I could have stayed home all day in bed
No.
and smoked weed, I probably wouldn't have had to take that morphine. But I have to get up and go to work. And I actually tried
Yeah.
getting out of work, but nobody would answer their phones at
So,
6 o'clock in the morning. I don't blame them.
yeah, they're expecting you to be there. You're opening, right?
I was opening for 8, but at 6 o'clock I tried calling because I was still awake. I hadn't slept.
You
It was
hadn't
6
slept.
a.m., right? And I'm like,
Oh,
fuck, I can't work today. I tried phoning and nobody answered, so I had to get up and go
so you
because
still haven't slept unless you slept at work.
no, I still have not slept.
Oh well. All righty.
And I
Well
haven't
then,
changed the last times.
if all of a sudden you go quiet, I'll know. But I'm
I also
not
well,
if I'm not looking at this screen right here,
yeah.
and all of a sudden you go
I'll
quiet.
be okay. I told Taven that I would
Oh
stay awake long enough to do my show, and then I was going.
yeah. Before we get into these things that I was talked about, then I got into the one. But before we get into it anymore, the CSP, how's things going? Like I know the mail's still screwing you around, but
No, I got gummies today though.
they did, eh?
We got gummies
Oh wow, look at them all.
later, and I got 6 bags this big. But this is what our money pays for, right? Like
Right.
that net kind donation from that nice friend of mine, you know,
Yeah.
that's where that money went. I mean,
Wow, that's a lot of gummies.
I had to add some bucks to it. Like,
Sure. Okay. All
but I
right.
mean, it was all like encompassed with that, right? But
Yeah.
I got 6 bags like that. And
Sure, that's a
then
lot of gummies.
it'll last a while. Yeah. It's
Good.
absolutely perfect.
Good. Get
And
some
then,
supply.
right? I got to
Yeah.
get supply. This was, and
If
those
you can get bulk like that.
right. Well, here's the thing. Those were sent out before I made that trip out to Dirty Darts. And
Oh.
they don't have a baker, but they do now. And all the proceeds are going to the substitution program.
Oh,
And they
good.
are going to supply me with the cannabis product to make the candy. I package them here, take them out there. They sell them. They got a donation jug out there. And then any money too, I can trade for flowers so I can keep it local too. So we get some variety.
Right.
It's washing each other's hands and it's going to be a terrific collaboration. And
Good.
then Daryl from Zero High too has got his out there as well. And he's got some new labeling and some new packaging. So
Hang on a second. Let me just switch you over there. Okay.
okay,
Oh
can you guys
yeah.
see that? So yeah, he's upped his little packaging, which looks great. But he's also, like I said, he's got these out there too at Dirty Darts. And I'm also taking Icy Pot out there. I rabbled Sita. And
Oh
so
yeah.
can I pull you out of retirement? So I'm gonna fill a bunch of small because I've got that pump and
Sorry. You're no longer retired. I got some work for you.
oh well, that's what I said. So what's it gonna take? Like, she goes, how much do you need? Because it's not so much her, but she's got a son and a daughter-in-law. And congratulations, because she's also expecting another grandbaby. But
Oh,
Sita's decided that yes, if it'll help me, she will pull herself out of retirement. So I'm going to take that out there too. And
good.
we're going to, so that gives people variety too, because Daryl's got a salve as well, but Daryl's is a salve. It's not the same as Icy Pot. Icy Pot's an aloe vera base, right? And Daryl
Right.
uses glycerin infusion, right, for his tinctures, where Sita uses MC and coconut oil. So there's room for more there's room for more products.
Sure. Yeah.
This is
Variety. It
yeah.
helps not,
And when we took our stuff out to the other place on the res way back, all they did was steal our recipes and made them themselves.
Oh, that's not good.
So with these two people, they don't have the knowledge that we have. They don't they don't, like, they're just
And,
like
maybe they don't have the time
that
because
too,
it
because
takes
they have
time
enough
to
going on.
do all that stuff.
Well, they've got like the trading post isn't just cannabis; it's a little store too, right?
Okay.
So they were running that already. They just kind of added to their variety. They sell cigarettes and legal cigarettes too, and they've got everything going on out there, right? So,
Right.
and the cannabis has now been added to it, and with the
Mhm.
blessing of the band, as far as I know, because they're right close to the band office. Like they're not hidden off in the back lower part of the res like the other one was. They're right there. So
okay, so they're right out there. They're not
and
hidden in any way.
right. And the nice thing about it too is they just had an election out there, and somebody else is now the chief.
Oh,
And
somebody
no
pro or
disrespect.
anti?
Well, the last one, it was tied, and the Tanaha's tradition is to flip a coin to see who wins. Not kidding you.
Wow.
So the inherited chief's son, Joseph Pierre, who is the inherited chief as well, won the last election by the flip of a coin.
Wow, that's
right.
that's close.
It was dead tied. Like they were like tied. So this
Right.
time around, somebody else's one, and I don't know. I don't have all the details because I've been busy with a million other things. But I was being told that, and then I also may have applied for another job today.
Oh. Oh.
At the harm reduction place.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Well, there you go.
I'm tired of selling people fucking lottery tickets.
I saw your post about the lady.
Never mind. Like I said, I kind of forgotten who I was, right? And then when I went out and I got this opportunity to make candy to bring the proceeds back, everybody knows that was my thing, right?
Yeah.
And then when legalization happened, I kind of shut everything down because there was no market for it anymore. And now I've got that opportunity to go again. So the spark went from that to being a burning fire again. So
Right.
it's like, let's get cracking. So that's what I plan on doing. And then still, and harm reduction, like with working with anchors, it would just open more doors. Not so much for the cannabis substitution program, but it's a better paying and it's more kind of up my alley, right? They're looking for people with life experience to do outreach, take out tents, do overnight, like temporary shelters, that kind of stuff, because that's stuff that goes on in our city on a regular basis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets me to be able to have educational purposes with these people, right? More people I meet, the more people I can affect, whether it's through substitution or whatever else, or my own story about my own recovery, right? And the fact that cannabis me.
Yeah.
So there's just an opportunity that I figured was kind of there, and I took it. I don't fill out an application, I don't have a resume. I sent an email. I don't know that I'm going to get it or not. I said, if whether you're looking for a person or not, like, I know she is because she offered my friend a job yesterday. And that's why I sent her the email. You should do this. I kind of said, like, even if it's not an employment opportunity, I'd still like to meet you and talk to you because she's the director of the harm reduction site here, and tell her what I'm doing. So either way, I'm looking for other opportunities. There's also interior health and other places that I could go work that are better paying and more in line to what I want. Working at that little grocery store is wonderful. There's no drama. It's great. But then there is drama. And it's not the people I work with. It's the people I have to serve. And
I have a friend that worked in retail with the public, and she just hated
it. I've been doing this now. Well, the catering was still public serving, right?
Yeah,
so
but you're not getting a different person coming up to you, every 10 minutes or whatever. Right? Catering, you're going in and you're dealing with specific things.
Well, no, I was still dealing with customers because when I was working at the bakery, like that was the same thing. Catering, we still had people coming in. I had to serve their soup and take their money and be nice to them, and
Yeah, but you had X amount of items to sell. You weren't selling.
Well, no, it was counter service, right? So they could come in and get a bowl of soup and a sandwich, and then they have to sit down. Like we didn't serve them like waitresses, but we still had counter service, so we still had to go. Hi, how are you? Like, what can I get you? I'm like, and I started the service when I was 16, being a hairdresser. So I'm just done.
Right. Your snow has arrived
to your house.
Yeah, it finally made it.
I'm seeing some pictures, and we're getting
every once in a while you freeze, and I'm thinking, okay, we're in the middle of our first winter storm out there right now. So,
well, it's raining here, so we got all that snow.
Well, it's coming.
Warmed up, and now it's raining. So then it freezes.
It's supposed to arrive Sunday night here.
Oh,
it rained right through till Tuesday, so we get all this snow over a day and a half, and now we're gonna get a bunch of rain after it.
I love it when people say
it'll fill the pond, anyways.
Right? Because of my road pages too, somebody will make some comment. Some guy made some comment about chemtrails. I'm like, fuck. I said, didn't you hear Danielle Smith said that that's, the U.S. defense? Just shut them right down. Just ridiculous crap. These people. There's nothing but, it's the weather's changed so much. There's nothing. There's no climate change. Anyway, back to what we're talking about.
Oh, you're breaking up there. That's snow. Okay. Okay. Back to this study that I got here that I was talking about.
Yeah. They're looking for 1,000 patients where
1,000 patients from across Canada. Okay. Mm-hmm. And they want to gather information on people's use of medicinal cannabis over a 24-week period through a validated questionnaire.
Okay, well, how do we do this? Let's do it now.
Be self-reporting.
Let's do it.
Do
you have to have legal paperwork or no?
Actually, I'm just going through the information to find out.
Because if that's the case, I'll hook myself up to Limestone.
Avicanna.
Oh, then yeah, you would. You probably have to buy from them too. Like broken have an LP license.
Yeah, these people bought Shoppers Medical platform in 2023. Shoppers Drug Mart. Because they had their own cannabis thing going on.
All I hear is corporations getting richer and the rest of us getting screwed.
Okay.
I mean, like, look at us.
I'm trying to find the actual information and not just what the talking to the big wigs.
Yeah, like if they don't need legal paperwork, I'm down for that. But if they got an application we could fill out, then we would know, right? Do they have an application?
Yeah. Maybe just a second here. They said the broad.
You got it in your hand.
I might have an answer here for you. It's still confident. Okay. They say here the broad study design provides access to a variety of products, ranging from inhaled to oral delivery forms, and includes patients using medical cannabis for various conditions. They say the outcome of the study will help guide future product development research teams. Blah, blah, blah.
But there's no medical program. There's no medical dispensary. Who are they going to sell it
to? Age.
I'm such an
They say that participating patients will have access to the platform's products from select licensed producers that are involved in the study. So it's more than one licensed producer. Okay. And I'm going to say being patients, that you would have to be legal licensed person.
I can get that done like we split tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So just so you know, for more information, it says to go to mcrwe.com.
mcrw.com?
Yeah, mcrwe.com. Oh, it's a Toronto phone number.
Desk. I have a pencil and a paper on a desk.
Wow. Really?
It's not an old fish tank stand, and my grandma's old stool, but it's a desk. And it works. I love it. It's great.
Oh, yeah. If you get a hold of them, see if you can.
Yeah, I will. I mean,
I did a study with Santé Cannabis out of Quebec years and years ago, and then all of a sudden I received an email. It said, "Hey, you did a study with us, eons ago, and we're doing a follow-up report on it." I went, "Wow, okay." So I answered some more questions, and yeah. So,
well, it's good that they did follow up. How many years ago was that? Like what, 10 years ago or something?
It was quite a few years. I'm gonna say at least 10.
Well,
I can't remember exactly right now.
And that's long-term data then, right? They phone you up and
say,
you've been continuing to use it, you still use it, is it still effective? Blah, blah, blah. Your condition changed, no, got worse, no. So that's all good data for them to have, because they're seeing that in 10 years, you haven't lost your brain. You haven't lost your mind. You still have a memory. You know who you are. You know what I mean? Your brain
Still
has
remember when I was born.
yeah, and you can
They
still
always ask, when were you born?
right? And you're not, do you know where you live?
Yeah,
Right? Like
yeah,
again, like
yeah.
just cognitive and the fact that there's checking in to see if you're still consuming because licenses are renewed because some people quit using it or they die or the cancer is cured and the doctor won't sign for them anymore or whatever the reasons are, right? But I know that there's been patients that have been on chemo, their doctor would assign them for that period of time, and then as soon as their chemo was finished, the doctor would not renew it.
Yeah. Well, I
If
just
they're in
hope they do. I hope they keep it for more. The study is more than just for them to help develop better products. I hope
it's
also
probably
got.
to see if they can help better product, but they should be leaning towards better product for patients and not for the recreational because the
Well,
stuff
I'm going to say that it is probably. I'm going to say it is probably for patients because you got
are
to
these
be
patients
a
that are actually
patient to be involved in it.
because there probably are patients still that have an LP license that sit in their home and go online and order their shit from Broken Coast instead of going down to the store and buying it from them because it's not medical then if you're buying it from the rec market.
Yeah,
If I'm buying
I
it from them.
I would assume that you have access probably to a page on their website where you would have a choice maybe of all these different products from these different LPs, and then you could order it through them. That's what I'm assuming.
Well, Broken Coast is in my local store that I go to, and it's the most expensive crap on the market, and it's no better
Really? Eh?
than the 65.99 ounce. It's not because I paid
$60,
$245 $245 for an ounce of Broken Coast, right?
how
And
much?
$245.99.
Wow, $250 in the legal world for cannabis
For Broken
for
Coast,
now?
only
Holy
Broken
fuck!
Coast.
I was lucky if I even paid that once when it was illegal.
I didn't pay that in the legal market. You were paying fucking $200 was a stretch. It's like fucking wrapped in gold.
Yeah.
The hell's what it was. But that's because I'm a snob and I've been smoking it for 30 years and growing my own. And I'm like, I know what it's costing to grow it. Like, fuck you, I ain't paying that for it, right? But again,
Yeah.
like even now in the legal market or in the illegal market, a pound of pot's like dirt cheap.
Yeah, the actually I was on Blue Sky. There was a guy from Australia who's involved as an advocate for them trying to get their cannabis legal there,
Well, they do
and
have a medical licensing in Australia, and they do have
they talked about $2 a gram or something.
Tilray's
So
down there
I sent them.
as we are.
I sent them the headlines to an article that said that this outdoor producer could produce a gram of cannabis for 25 cents.
Well, Tilray's down there, right? And Murray, my friend Murray,
Yeah.
has got a license. He gets 7 grams. It costs exactly the same amount as it costs here in Canada, right? The same
Yeah.
equality, right? But yeah, I haven't been speaking to him because he thinks that Trump's going to make Australia great. So,
Gonna make them what?
Australia great again. He made a
Oh.
comment on his page that Trump's going to make Australia great again. And went, the fuck did I just see? You kind of just said that. Anyways, but yeah, but he lives in Australia, and I know he's licensed because I've had him on my show.
Yeah.
And he's been in my
Yeah.
house. But yeah, they do have medical. But
Yeah. There is a medical program there. This guy
and if you
did.
look into Germany, you're gonna see Aurora. I'm hearing too.
Yes. Yeah. I believe
Dicar,
so.
which is one here,
Yeah.
right? And they're growing the cannabis here and exporting it.
Correct. Yeah. Oh
That's
yeah. That's where they're getting their money from, because they have to ship it out of the country. It's not all being sold here.
It's
They've all
not
got
being sold
export
there.
license.
It's not being produced there. They're exporting it. So how does that work?
Or they have an export
Must be
license to sell their cannabis. If they're growing it here, they can sell it to Germany with an export license.
Yeah, I know that, but that's just like, you know what I mean? Like if it was you and me getting on a plane with a bag in our,
Oh, I know, yeah, but we don't have a license. We didn't pay. We didn't pay for the play. Come on.
we were smuggling. You'd be smuggling. just
right.
a two sets of standards. It's ridiculous
Yeah.
that we have like we don't have. Why should we have to? They pay to play. We got you here, motherfuckers. Why should we not get at least a break?
We already paid. We should be able
Yeah,
to
we
play.
paid all. I
All
paid
right.
it in 6 months house arrest. How about that?
Yeah. All right. Time for us to take a break.
All right.
Okay. We get back. I got some more stuff to discuss here. That's going on. We'll talk to you shortly. You're watching the Pace Radio Show. We're live here at paceradio.net.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
Are you looking to get your medical cannabis grow license? Limestone City Hydroponics can help patients through the process of obtaining their license to grow medical cannabis. What's that? You don't have a doctor. If you meet the medical criteria, Limestone City Hydroponics has a nurse practitioner who can assess and provide medical cannabis prescriptions. What are you waiting for? Contact Limestone City Hydroponics at limestonecityhydroponics.ca or call them at 613-548-0420.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Are you looking for non-stop, continuous cannabis and psychedelic programming? If you are, then turn your browsers to 420radio.ca or paceradio.net, where you will find the 420 Pace re-rolled Saturday. Everything gets started at 8 a.m. Eastern Saturday morning.
Cannabis edibles are an effective way to manage pain and other ailments, especially when you deal with your trusted partner, Legacy 420, in Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. You see, we lab test every product on site to ensure proper dosage every time, which is critical when consuming cannabis edibles. All Legacy 420 edibles are made by our classically trained baker and chocolatier, and we also have super tasty vegan options.
Our baker has been in the industry for 25 years. She's also a chocolatier. Everything from savory to sweet, your chocolate bars, brownies, butter tarts, you name it, we make it.
Talk to our knowledgeable Cannatex about our incredible variety available. Give your trusted partners a call. Legacy 420 out on your road.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
And you're watching the Pace Radio Show. Well, Tamara, this next topic, as I mentioned earlier during the show, that we're always talking about what's going on with either what's going on with the election and cannabis for what they were discussing at the time. Well, it actually came up here. Cannabis did in here in Canada at the House of Commons.
Well, that's funny. They haven't said nothing in 7 years. What are they blethering on about?
Well, they trade. It says here the headline says Trudeau and Poilievre trade barbs in question period over cannabis.
Poilievre was giving him a hard time about being a stoner or what?
Cannabis legalization. Let's see. They reported as a back and forth between the two of them.
There's probably a YouTube video of it somewhere. Somebody will have it on TikTok. I'll have to look later. But yeah, I wouldn't doubt it because Poilievre would take away cannabis.
It had to do with Trump's tariffs.
Oh.
And then they say here that the conservative leader suddenly pivoted to the subject of legalization. And it said that his comments appear to seek to conflate cannabis legalization, the only drug legalized by Trudeau's Liberals, with the growing opiates case. Now, it says the Prime Minister's, this is what he says, Poilievre says, the Prime Minister's disastrous legalization and liberalization of drugs has the Americans worried that in addition to costing 47,000 lives in Canada, where's the plan to stop the drugs and keep our border open to trade? Cannabis has got nothing to do with that. And actually, Trudeau responded with and says the leader of the opposition, or if the leader of the opposition is suggesting that he wants to recriminalize cannabis, let him just say that.
I told you. And I'm just sitting back and writing hashtag I told you all over everything. And I have to.
But yeah, that's what Poilievre has gone and done. He's trying to say that, you know, the legalization of cannabis and the opioid epidemic are connected. Whereas, you know, obviously with what you're doing, that is not the case, and it's actually the complete opposite of that.
But you also hear Trump's little minion down there saying that cannabis is a gateway drug too.
Oh yeah. I know. There's mixed
so
coming out of that party.
I fucking told you, and I said this 3.5 months ago. You better lace your boots back up, because if that guy gets back in, we are going to get a repeal of all kinds of things. Never mind women's, reproductive rights, cannabis, our jails, mandatory jail sentencing will be back. 14, mandatory 14 years for smoking a joint. So for all you, freedom loving fuckers, you better fucking put your boots back on, bitches, because we're right back where we started.
You may need him again. That's right. Because here you go. It says here, conservatives in Canada have at times in the past tried to misrepresent cannabis legalization as part of a supposed plan by the Liberal government to legalize other harder drugs.
You're right.
And I've heard them say that. Now, it also says that one conservative MP who has said he would vote to reverse cannabis legalization if given the chance.
He's out of Mealy Mouth Cooper, probably.
Pardon me?
Mealy Mouth Cooper? Is that who said that?
No, Arnold Burson.
Oh, Arnold. The one from Northern Alberta that wants to take your reproductive freedom away, too. Oh, yeah, we know Arnold.
Yeah. Now, it mentions here Sarah Blythe, founder of High Hopes.
I know her, yeah.
Yeah. She says that she finds these comments disappointing.
Disappointing? What doesn't she say? Like, put some oomph into it. Disappointing? It's disgusting. How dare you repeal something that we've had freedom for 6 years?
Oh, I know, eh?
What about patients? We had to claw our way through courts to get, right? So are we going to end up back in court fighting this fucking fascist piece of shit?
And she's saying this, she's saying the same thing as what we're saying. It's obviously the opposite to what the conservatives are saying. It's beneficial to people.
But those people Congress too. The night that the Swift concert was on and Trudeau was getting roasted for that, you know where Poilievre was? In a church doing a fundraiser at a fucking Victory Evangelistic fucking church playing pastor. So that's his pander, right? He's going straight. He's doing it right. Like I said, Harper went down and bought the MAGA handbook right after Trump was elected. So the conservatives are not even Reform Alliance anymore. They're Maple MAGAs.
I see he's looking after money now in Alberta.
Well, Alberta should be
Okay, I better change. I better change the subject.
but Alberta has the highest stores, cannabis stores, right? The highest consumptions in Nova Scotia for cannabis. And
Yeah.
again, we want to know, where's the money? Because the feds aren't getting it. The provinces are.
The provinces are getting. They're getting 75% of the money.
Where's the money?
Yeah, I don't
Why are we
Did
why
you
are
go-
we still about housing? What are we worried about?
Okay, talking about the money. Good segue into this next little tidbit of information here. Okay, cannabis, as you know, is illegal federally, Schedule 1 drug. Even though they are starting the process of trying to maybe reschedule it to a 3, which is disappointing to a lot of people. Even though it's because it's not legalization. It still can't. It's not legal.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it doesn't it helps with the tax benefit and does some research, but that's about it. It's not where it's and then just allowing the states' rights that sucks too. But just so you know, overall they say that U.S. cannabis sales hit $32 billion. Okay, you're selling $32 billion of a product and you're keeping it illegal in your country?
Oh, like I said, old Donnie there will see the money.
Yeah. It is. It's $32 billion bucks, they say.
Maybe we should ask him if we for a meeting now. He's a felon. He can't come here where Trudeau had to go there. Maybe they'll let me because I've got a criminal record, so it should be okay with the Americans, not for me to come down there. And we'll go down and have a little meeting. Maybe we'll go kiss the ring.
Yeah. They say it's created 500,000 jobs and over 25,000 businesses across.
Well, their activists better get on that. They shouldn't be up to Canadian activists to be pointing this out. But the American
I know, eh? Like it just doesn't make sense. Come on. And they're talking about 55 billion by 2030. Now I know those are only projected numbers, right? Still, like holy fuck.
But like I said, Google Canadian numbers. It's probably more than $2.8 billion by now, because the big producers are citing they're losing money. They're writing it off so they can say they're losing money because then it's a tax break.
Tax break.
Come on.
32 billion with a B, like balloon.
Like I said, Canada was doing 2.8 billion, and we don't have the population they do.
Oh yeah. Our population's it's like 10 times the size of ours.
We're at 345 million, aren't they, or something like that? We're at like 38 million.
That's like they're around that 10%.
Yep, exactly. And we've got larger lands. And then everybody's like, we got too many immigrants. Like, okay, and they stop. It's just, I don't even get it. I don't get it.
There you go. Here you go. Flower prices stabilized at around
$300.
$1,065 per pound in October.
Where?
I'm gonna say this is in the U.S.
Yeah, not up here. Licensed
reflecting, they say that's what it was in October, and they say it reflects the seasonal pressures from the outdoor harvest. States like Alaska and Michigan lead in per capita sales.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now they say
there's this and that's why we perfected indoor growing, because we're cold and people don't want to go without weed.
Yeah. Because really, and you go up north, like you're into snow, by the time your plants are ready to come off.
Well, it's funny because usually by Halloween we have snow. This year it was like the 18th of November before we got snow, and then we got snow like for 5 days straight, right?
Yeah.
And it's around, but now it's supposed to be 5 degrees and everything's gonna melt.
And everything's wet, so you're little scattered there with the snowstorm going on.
5 degrees and all the snow is supposed to melt. So now we've got like extreme warming.
Right. Yeah. Well, you know, around here it's going to do us some good. We could use some water in the pond.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, that's the
Yeah,
thing.
that's
Like
just
this
other
time
ponds.
normally we should be packed in. We want to have the snow. We need the
Yeah.
snow. We need the moisture. We're gonna have nothing. And knock on wood, this year for BC fires, we didn't have a lot. Like we weren't smoked out
Mhm.
this year. I think it was the first year in 5 years that we haven't been smoked out.
Yeah.
Banff and
Yeah.
Jasper, of course, you know, the Jasper that was a big Jasper, but that wasn't in our out in BC either. Boy.
Okay, I caught some of that. Oh, right shoulder, eh?
Oh my god. The kid just cut it off.
Yeah, then you'd have phantom pain.
It's just it never stops aching, no matter what. And it's
Yeah.
because it's the day before methotrexate day, and sometimes this just happens, but I've never had it keep me awake all night, ever.
Oh,
I took some
yeah.
hydrochloroquine too this morning when I got up because I was
Right.
supposed to, yeah, that kind of helps it too, but a little bit, it dulled it a bit, so I didn't have to take it any more like morphine to go to work with. I've, taken
Yeah,
one
and you
and
can't take it. You
no,
can't take an anti-inflammatory.
this is the funniest thing out. When I told her that my doctor had given, like my GP had given me hydromorphine, very low doses for my pain, she goes, "You shouldn't be taking that. You could take Advil." I'm like, "You told me I couldn't take Advil or Tylenol." She goes, "When did I tell you that?" I'm like, "When I first was diagnosed." And the
Oh,
reason
yeah.
I take,
You
right?
you can take Tylenol. You can take Tylenol.
Okay, I could, but the reason why my GP took me off the Tylenol and started me on the low dose of this, or there was actually something else before, but it was giving me a headache, is because I was eating 12 Tylenol at a time to touch the pain.
Oh,
So if 12 Tylenol extra strength aren't cutting the pain, it ain't helping my
yeah.
kidney, my liver,
Oh, right in your gut and eat up
right?
your liver
That's
and spit
exactly what
it
my
out.
doctor said. She goes, "That's not good for you either. If you're eating that many Tylenol to kill the
Oh,
pain,
no.
like that's got to stop. Let's put you on this, and it's one pill rather than 12, right?"
Yeah, just did it all in one dose, right?
And that's why she did that. And then the specialist is like, "Nee." And I'm like, "Make up your mind. I've been seeing you for 3 years, and every time I see you, your story changes. It's just you're supposed to be."
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't think she even knew who. Like she was. Yeah, it was weird because she was saying, "Didn't you have this?" And I'm like, "I've never had skin lesions." She in her head, she thinks I've got psoriatic arthritis, right? But I
Oh,
don't get psoriasis. I don't. I've never had eczema. I've never had skin rashes ever. But in her head, I've got psoriatic arthritis, and I'm like, "No, Karen, I don't get skin lesions."
mm-hmm.
Then, well, then it must be just RA. But because of my fingers, I don't know. She's just, I don't know. Because of the genetics, I don't know. But she looks at my fingers and toes every time, and makes a big stink about it, but never like it stops there. I see her once a year, and it's the same. But again, with the Advil, she told me, "Don't take Advil; it's not good for your
Yeah,
liver."
I don't take Advil.
But
Just
then tells me,
Tylenol.
"Yeah, no." She told me to take Advil, and I know I've been Google, and it says no methotrexate, no Advil, Tylenol,
Yeah,
acetaminophen, no naproxen, even ibuprofen, nothing when you're taking methotrexate, right? Because methotrexate's
yeah.
so hard for the liver too. But anyway,
I don't mind not having to take that anymore. So,
the only way I'm going to
yeah.
get off is if I agree to take a poke, and I'm not doing a needle, because I go from pills to an injection. That's the only next step.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And then if you gotta do a self injection, you're not into that for sure. I know I did them.
No, no.
Yeah,
And like I said,
yeah,
I've got a phobia for needles as it
sure.
is.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the only way
yeah.
I'm going to get off this shit is if I agree to do the injectable methotrexate. And when that doesn't work, then she'll put me on to Skyruzi or some other whatever, right? But then it's a biologic, and I have to go sit in her office and have an infusion done once a month or once every
Okay,
week.
well, if you ended up on Sky Rizzy, that's something you would do at home. But because it's just a thing that just takes 5 minutes to do it. The other ones you would have to go in unless you had something like Humira. That's an EpiPen.
Well, that was another one that she suggested, but again, it's another freaking needle. And there's
It's an EpiPen, so you just stab yourself in the leg.
uh, no.
Now with the Sky Rizzy, it's a device about as big as this package.
Yeah.
Okay, it's actually smaller than this
Is
package.
it a needle too?
No, what it is it's a there is a needle, but it's like okay, but hang on. What it is think of those you know those little discs for the people with diabetes so they can take and stick on.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like that.
Okay.
And what it is, it's inside this little pump with your medication in it. And when you press down on a button, the needle goes into your leg, and it's just barely breaks the surface of your skin, and then the medication goes in. So it's not like a syringe needle or anything like that. It's just like a little pinprick. It's really small. I don't even see the needle.
But yeah, the same pharmaceuticals for my autoimmune are the same for yours. Crohn's, colitis, stuff
Correct.
that all under arthritis, and yeah, it's all under the same
Yeah.
code. Why my
And so-
colitis is lymphatic and not ulcerative? Because it's an autoimmune rather than a.
Yeah, and not everybody can. Yeah, it's not like it's just a little wee. I was gonna look for the picture there of it, but yeah, it's just a little wee device. I'm involved in a Crohn's group on Facebook, and get talking with a lot of people and see a lot of the what they're going through, and
My mom,
experiences that I've been through. Right.
my mom has a friend with a grandson that's got Crohn's so bad that it runs from the back of his throat all the way through.
Yeah, I've had it from the tip of my lips to the tip of my ass.
Yeah, and it's just like,
Yeah.
and it's for me too. Like it's not the same, but I don't eat anything. You eat anything,
Yeah.
and I can't eat anything. It doesn't matter what it is.
There was a mother who wrote one post for her 11-year-old daughter. Her mouth is just full of cankers.
Yeah.
The kid can't eat, drink, just a mess. And I can't remember all exactly I ate. I just know that at that time it was a lot of water, but yeah.
That's a lack of folics. All the mouth sores.
A lack of what?
Of folic acid. That's why I got to take folic acid, right? Because when you're taking any immune suppressing, it kills your body's ability to.
Yeah, I took folic acid as well. Yeah.
And if you don't take folic acid, you'll get mouth sores and cankers. So if that little she's obviously lacking a lot of folic acid, so she should be taking.
Well, I'll go look for that thread. I'll go look for that thread and make.
Ask her, like, is she taking folic acids? And if she's not, why? Or,
yeah, I was on 5 milligrams a day.
Yeah, me too.
And they kept running out of supply in the system.
Yeah,
so
and
you
then
had to take 5 of the 1 grammers.
Yeah. It was like that just recently again too. It's the same. I have a prescription for folic acids and I can't get it. And it's like, what do you mean I can't get it? Oh, it's back ordered. I'm like, it's a fucking acid, like it's folic acid. But apparently it's because it's produced somewhere over in Indonesia and Myanmar, somewhere where there's war, and it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like he's bitching about the chocolate prices. I said, do you know that there's a drought in Colombia? Pretty hard for them to get, any cocoa or leaves being grown when there's a drought. Right?
Yeah.
Brazil and all through South America, it's drought. They don't even have fucking power, so they're not growing any fucking any chocolate.
Chocolate. Okay, here's a report, and well, you are a mother of a teenager. And this study says that the study finds that the perceptions of parents' cannabis use shapes the teens' attitudes.
I don't know.
And okay, it says here, teens who think their parents use cannabis are more likely to hold a favorable attitude towards it and to consider trying it themselves.
Oh, for sure. Because why hide it?
Yeah.
It's no different than them all sitting around outside a campfire with a fucking beer in their hand, and that's appealing to kids too. So if you got a
No,
bunch
it
of
is. Yeah.
unsmoked weed, they're gonna be appealing to
Well,
that,
you know,
right?
you don't even have to sit around the fire here. You know, like a minor can't walk into our cannabis stores, but they can sit beside mom and dad when they order
At
a
a
beer
bar.
at the local restaurant for during dinner.
Well,
Like
here
they're
in
pretty,
BC, they can actually go into a pub till 9 o'clock. You
yeah,
can take them to the pubs till 9 o'clock. So yeah,
correct.
they can sit in a licensed facility and watch your parents get shit-faced
Mhm.
drunk, and then take you home at 9 o'clock and beat you up and put you to bed, right? And then
Uh,
yeah. I guess I don't. It's just double standard. Like it's just
yeah.
so.
It says here that if teens perceive their parents use cannabis, whether they actually do or not, it can send the message that behavior is also acceptable for them. Oh,
That's what you talk to your kids.
that's why you
That's what
talk to
you
them.
talk to your kids. So like you can't put that on the kid.
Well,
And
this is what they go on to say. To
yeah,
have the conversation to set boundaries for with your teen. Yeah.
it's not even so much even that. Just give them the facts. Tell them the facts. But a lot of these like ads and stuff from mom or mad and all this shit, and it affects the
Mhm.
developing brain, and like it just reminds me of that stupid commercial. This is your brain on drugs.
Drugs, yeah.
So it's information, and it's scare tactics. It's kind of like
They
what
said they say that 32% of teens believe their fathers used cannabis, while 25% thought their mothers did. They said these perceptions were strongly associated with decreased negativity attitudes towards it. Well, it's because they're seeing what they're believing and not what they're being told.
Well, here's the thing.
They can see that how mom and dad are with cannabis, and it's not what they were being taught in school through their programs.
Don't hear about cannabis fetal syndrome, right? Cannabis
No.
fetal syndrome, but you sure hear a lot about alcohol fetal syndrome.
Alcohol, yeah.
Fetal alcohol syndrome, right? But you don't hear about
Yeah.
fetal cannabis syndrome. That's what I meant to say.
No.
Right? So what is fetal cannabis syndrome? In fact, they did studies to find out that women that smoke while they were pregnant have more rounded, more intelligent children, kind of like mine, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't know fetal cannabis syndrome, but alcohol sure fucks you up, makes you have no conscience, makes you have like absolutely the ability to know what's right from wrong. There are so many symptoms, and that's what we're dealing with because our generation before our parents didn't know. It was a norm to see a mom sitting there with a cigarette and a fucking glass of wine in her hand, pregnant. Right? In the 60s, 70s.
Yeah. Okay, so that's about what that ended up going through. There was a bunch of other stuff throughout the study there, but nothing that was sort of wasn't really connecting it the way that any more information. We say boys who report high levels of parental monitoring, so which has got nothing to do with cannabis.
But when they don't find any harms in it, that's when you hear them say, "Oh, more data is needed. Oh, we need further investigation." Because you haven't found any evidence.
We need to further investigate the.
Yeah, and it's because they haven't found anything. There's no absolute harm in it, right?
No, they don't. They're not always finding. They're not always looking for the good. They're usually looking for the bad.
Yeah, they're looking for the harms. And then when you ask them where the cannabis money is, they're going to go, "Oh, it's for law enforcement and cannabis treatment recovery." What?
Yeah.
Are you building treatment centers for cannabis users? Like, where are they with all this money? Then if they're not being used for cannabis treatment, then why aren't they being used for apartments for people that are houseless? Like, where is the money?
Yeah, I don't know. Have you? I know one time you talked about asking your MP. Have you ever done that?
No, because I'm not a conservative and they don't take my calls. And my MLA said, "I'm your MLA whether you like it or not."
But he can still answer your question. Where's all the money going?
No, I roasted him. He doesn't know. And it's, like I said, and he wouldn't know because they just swore these idiots in. And He won't even know. Yeah, like it's actually the NDP government that we've got running the shit show right now to be asking where's the money. But my whatever you want to call him, used car salesman from down the block, that yeah. No, I'm serious. That's what he is. These idiots out here used car salesmen. They let
they all had a job prior to being, well, most of them. There's one guy who didn't have a job before becoming an MP. And I see. I couldn't say everybody. Because I knew about him. But all right, time for us to.
You know what we should do? We should go and smoke a joint in front of his office. In fact, I could probably walk up to him and say, "Hey, remember me? You want to smoke a joint?"
All right. Well, we're gonna go for a break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about dogs.
Okay.
Cannabis and dogs. All right. All right. You're watching the Pace Radio Show. We're live here at paceradio.net. See you in about 3.5 minutes.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Legacy 420 have an awesome array of cannabis-infused beverages, from pop to Nature's Nectar's teas, all in amazing flavors. What a selection. We even have a delicious mango-infused juice, and let me tell you, it's delicious.
Everything is infused in-house, so we buy our syrup from, the same place where everybody else buys their syrup for their pop, and the infusion is done in the lab. It's all canned here, labeled here, produced 100% on Tyndonega.
We have 2 lines of drinks. One is called our Nature's Nectar. That was our original line that we came out with. And then we also have a line under the Red E brand. We have them in 10 milligrams, 30 milligram, and 60 milligram cans.
What a great selection for a get-together with friends or after a long day. Remember, if you want to wet your whistle with on-site lab-tested products, come see your trusted partner. Legacy 420 out on your road.
Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. Open Monday to Friday from 10 till 7 p.m. or by chance. Check out our flags, our t-shirts, plus our hats, and look of that supply of rolling papers, plus much more. We've got bongs and your favorite herbal vaporizers. Look at all the incense we have, as well as for those who collect knives, check out these knives in our collection. And while you're here, stop in to see Shay at the piercing room, where you can get poked by Shay. Daily deals, check them out. Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford, Ontario. Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420. Are you looking for non-stop, continuous cannabis and psychedelic programming? If you are, then turn your browsers to 420radio.ca or paceradio.net, where you will find the 420 Pace re-rolled Saturday. Everything gets started at 8 a.m. Eastern Saturday morning.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Hey, we're back. Alrighty, and I had to go upstairs while we were off from the break, but I'll tell you, the old joints just don't move like they used to.
My joints aren't moving at all. Like I was trying to explain today, like everybody's like, "Oh, you look like you're in pain." I says, "You have no idea. And they're like, oh, what's going on?
God.
Did you get an injury? I'm like, no, it's just my arthritis. And they go, oh, well, I've got osteo. And they always want to run with their, oh, I got it too, blah, blah. I said, oh, yeah, okay, yeah. I said, well, meanwhile, it feels like I broke my bones. Like, if you ever broke a bone, that's how fucking painful it is, right? Or if you have bursa, or if you actually have torn a rotator.
Yeah.
But it's like, but this is like, like I said, there's pressure points, and if I even touch it, it's like
The scream.
And it's not, it's on the skin. It's like all the way from the top of the skin all the way down. It's just, and it's like pressure, like 3 little pinpoints. Yeah.
I had a broken ankle.
No, I've broken bones before. I broke my arm and I couldn't sit up the next day. It would hurt so bad. So
I got ran over by a forklift.
Jesus Christ, that would crush your foot.
Those ones that are inside that don't have any suspension on them.
Oh yeah,
have
with the
just
round roller.
hard tires. Yeah, one of those.
Yeah.
Okay. I mentioned before we go to break that we're going to talk dogs. Okay. Now, who would have thought? And I look at this too with humans as well. But there's always, people's dogs are getting into finding roaches or getting into people's cannabis and they're getting stoned, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what they say, this new study shows, this headline says that CBD can help counteract accidental cannabis exposure in dogs. So they're suggesting to use cannabis to combat an overdose of dogs getting into cannabis.
It's the same with a human. If you're green enough,
exactly. That's what
CBD and
yeah.
it's funny. Orange juice does the same thing too, because I don't know why, but orange juice will sober you right up too. Like if you're greening out as well, if you're having a panic attack or something with your heart racing, like that's something that kind of goes along with greening out sometimes. And that would be an option. But yeah, CBD. In fact, it's funny that you mentioned pet CBD because my little cougher over there is taking these too, right? Because it seems to help, and he's not losing weight or anything. Like he's been coughing like that for like years. It's not a new thing, right?
Yeah. They say here, they used 5 of the did this on some dogs, and 5 of them had 6 cases. Okay, so 5 of these dogs were treated with a mucosal CBD, and these are sheets that dissolve on the dog's inner lips or gums.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they're those are coming out for you and I and humans as well. I had a report on that on Monday's news, where it's just like a little package and you put it in between your gum and your teeth, and it just dissolves. And within 15 minutes, you're feeling it's in your system.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind that.
Well, you could use those in situations where you can't smoke.
Well, I think they're trying to get people away from smoking because they're doing the same thing with cigarettes.
Yeah, correct. I wouldn't doubt it too. So.
Oh no, they got these pouches now too.
Yeah, the pouch. You stick the pouch in there, and it's got THC instead of nicotine. And I looked at it. It could be an advantage in some sports. I don't know, what's it created and how is it made.
Depends on how you consume it, though, right? Like, if I'm a smoker, same with cigarettes. I'm not gonna want to like take away that inhalation, right? Same with cannabis. Like I smoke cannabis because I like the taste of it. I want to get that flavor, right? I like the terpenes. I like the smell, right?
Yeah.
But the whole experience of smoking it, it's not the high. I mean, the high, is a bonus if you get one. If you get one, right? Usually it's just like treating something. It's either like, helping this ache, that ache, from that, making it so I don't kill somebody,
Wow. Holy smokes. They say within an hour of giving these dogs these patches, the ones that were stoned, because there were 6 of them that were stoned, and they used these patches on. Say less than an hour, all of the clinical signs of THC intoxication had been noticeably reduced in 5 of the 6 cases.
Yep.
within an hour.
Yep.
And we're completely resolved for 3 of the 6 cases within a day.
Because it does, it really depends on the dog, the size of the dog, the size of the roach. Because I had Peanut, she was
Right.
super tiny. She ate a roach and she looked like she was on acid. Her eyes would be all big. And
Oh, yeah. I had
everywhere, and like, yeah, it wasn't a good time.
I had one person tell me that their dogs got into their cookies that were cooling on the counter. And the dog ate a whole whack of them. And it was for days on end that these people had to actually carry the dog outside so it could go to the bathroom. It was that.
Andy ate a whole fucking bag of haystacks, medicated haystacks during the cannabis cup, and they were chocolate. Didn't affect him.
Wow.
He puked.
Didn't affect the chocolate should have.
Right?
Didn't the chocolate affect him?
No. That was that big fat, street dog that I got that I rescued, right, from California. Didn't even touch him. He's like, come on, rolling around. We get home.
Makes you wonder, it makes you wonder how strong was the chocolate?
Well, that or the fact that how much weed he ate when he was on the streets in California.
Yeah, I got toleration, eh? Yeah.
He was like, right on, I'll give you some more.
This was done by 3 researchers in Florida. Okay, and
is weed legal in Florida?
Yeah, patients. It's not recreationally. They just voted that down, 57%.
Right, that's a 60%, target. Yeah.
Correct. Right. Yes. Yeah, it was.
I'm surprised they allow patients to have any
This is done. This is all done with veterinarians all involved in it. They said the products contain 10 milligrams of CBD from broad spectrum hemp. Dose based on the dog's body weight. And they retail for about $2 per 10 milligram sheet. And they obviously work from what they report. And for $2, $2, that's not like an arm and a leg.
No, that's not bad at all.
No. And this is for the vets, eh?
Well, I know that this stuff where I get this, this CBD comes from the University of British Columbia because that's where she sources it.
Yeah. It says that a survey of vets in the U.S. and Canada reported treatment costs for, they call it THC toxicosis. So I'm going to say, OD on, as they would call it these days. We called it greened out. Just got too high.
Yep.
$2,000 to go see a veterinarian, but they say here that mostly it costs usually around $500.
Well, yeah, because they make them drink charcoal and puke charcoal, and that's not going to do anything for a dog that's high on cannabis. But the CBD will actually counteract because of the trichome, or not the trichome, but the will attach to your receptors, right? What am I trying to say here? It counteracts because of the terpenes, the CBDs, everything that's involved in it with the chemical breakdown, right? So you're high. Yeah. This is a down low, right? Because it's a balancer. So why you get a 1-to-1? Because they even each other out. I don't know how to explain it though. Like, because I'm not a scientist, I don't have a lot of things to say.
Yeah.
It's like a 1-to-1, right? Like that's why when you get
1-to-1, that's what I always shoot for around there.
Don't get high off that because the CBD is counteracting the THC.
This goes on a little bit more into other stuff. But they say that the National Animal Supplement Council promoted a new study that it says show that CBD is safe for long-term use in dogs. So whether even like this is more along the line of helping your dog get better from being too stoned. But
they sell CBD at the pet stores.
Yeah. It points out the fact that long-term study showing it doesn't affect the dogs in a negative way also means you can give it to them medicinally for whatever reason, and knowing that it's not going to affect them. I got some stuff for Tessa sitting in the fridge right now from Legacy 420 for dogs.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I mean. Stitch.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was coughing, and he's 15 years old, right? If I can keep him alive a little longer, or whatever, I will. I'll do whatever.
This study also found out that not only CBD, but CBDA and CBG were well tolerated in healthy dogs at a dose of 5 milligrams per kilogram.
See, and Daryl uses a lot of CBC.
Oh, yeah.
And CBC and THC. Those are the main three that he.
Wow.
Yeah.
They said they dosed a healthy male and female beagle. Wonder if it helped them get quiet. But they dosed them for 90 consecutive days for 3 months.
Well, you'd think that we would calm them down so they wouldn't be barking if the barking was due to anxiety.
Yeah, I mean, that's so they'd be calming them down, right?
Right. Well, you think it
could
would.
have. Could have. They're not mentioning anything about that.
Well, that's something. Obviously, they weren't asking the right dang questions.
No, they also found that cannabis appears to be a viable alternative treatment option for dogs suffering from a common skin disease.
I'm telling you, that paw bomb that Oily Dog has, I put that on the back of that little silky chicken, right? Remember I was telling you that they had pulled all her feathers out and she was like bleeding and all like her skin was hard. Anyways, I used that paw bomb with the CBDs or whatever, right? That's in it. And you should see that chicken now. She's got all her feathers back. She's living in my dining room now. I took her to the bathroom. Well, she got picked on.
Yeah. It also goes on and says things like, it was CBD, significant reductions in stress and anxiety related to car travel helps them. Frequency of seizures among dogs, which we hear about that a lot anyways. And arthritis in dogs as well.
They say it's good for their joints, but glycine and CBD kind of go hand in hand. They have kind of the same compounds.
There we go. Hey, some people might look at this as being funny or odd, but why would they study this or whatever? But it makes sense. They say that last year, the U.S. Department of Agriculture found that cows that are fed hemp seed cake retain very low concentrations of THC and CBD in their bodies, indicating that meat products from hemp-fed cattle are safe for human consumption. But let's also look at the fact, 100 years ago, when hemp was growing wild, those cows were eating that stuff. And people were eating the cows. And we didn't have the autoimmune conditions that we have now.
Or autism, or all kinds of fucking cancer, and fucking epilepsy, and all kinds of shit. And I had this fucking whack, you got rheumatoid arthritis, you got the jab. And he said, no, I had that long before the jab. You know what I mean? Like, what do you know? But again, like science doesn't lie. But again, you're right. Hemp was around. Cannabis was medicine before 1920. In fact, if you talk to the Mormons, I hate to say this, but even in Bounty, which is out by Creston, where those, polygamy weirdos live, they've been using CBDs for menopause and menstrual issues and for decades. Decades and decades. Well, since 1849, when they were actually created, the religion, right? But but it's been something that they never ever took out of their sanctimonial, whatever they call it.
Now, feeding the cows also reduces their stress, and it also helps the horses with stress and pain.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
Yeah. Oh, here's one.
It's funny because the Veterinary Association, when we were doing the roundtables in Vancouver, like way back, like they were doing consultation before legalization, the Veterinary Association was there in Vancouver, right?
Yeah.
And the Ministry of Agriculture from British Columbia was there, right? There were people that were because they wanted input, but they also they wanted to have something to say, whether it was good, bad, or ugly, right? That was what these roundtables were about: the negative and the positive, and putting people together so we could, hash out what the policies should look like, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But they were more interested in the medicinal side, and that's not what they were there for. Why anybody ever brought up anything medicinal to the policy builders or the policy panel and all the people that were there taking their notes, medicinal was something that was not part of the conversation. And every time it was brought up,
They didn't want to have anything to do with it.
well, no, but I made like that comment. I says, until you recognize it as medicine, we're going to keep going round and round with regulations for recreational till the end of fucking time. I didn't swear,
Yeah.
but it was true. And we are still going on and on about regulations for recreational cannabis because there's nothing left for patients. There's nothing there for patients.
Well, yeah, and they won't come up with just patients higher doses because they'll say, oh, well, then it's going to get into the other markets and people are going to get access to high dose.
We're adults. How about we can decide for ourselves whether we're medically licensed or not? You're treating us like we're in kindergarten, for fuck's sakes. Like, are you our government or are you my mom and dad? Like,
yeah.
It's
just like you can go in and buy a near beer. You can buy a beer that's like 4%, or a beer that's 5%. You can buy a beer that's 7%.
Yeah, you can buy Everclear in Alberta for 99, but you can't in British Columbia. It's 97 because of the regulations, province to province. You argue with this idiot lotto zombie about that. Oh, I got an Alberta ticket. You can. No, I can't. It's Alberta. Well, it's $6.49. It's Alberta jurisdiction. It's like healthcare.
Yeah. Provincial.
Cannabis too. They threw it back to the provinces, so that every province is different, right? Just like in Quebec, you can't do this and you can't do that. And now they want to stop you doing fucking a lot more. Like Legault is pulling fucking bullshit out there right now. Language police and anti-abortion, all kinds of shit going on in Quebec. Never mind, overinflation of numbers on the riot.
But I see that they're starting to allow them to have vape pens. And they figure it's going to take a year from now. And they're going to start allowing vape pens and cartridges.
And Manitoba's still sitting stagnant. What's going on there, Webb? But again,
last I heard it'll be the spring of 2025 before it's legal for them to grow plants there.
I guess in hindsight, like I'm glad they did it. I have two sides of this, and part of me wants to say, why did the feds give back the province, blah blah. But then the federal government, if it changed, they could change it whenever they wanted to. At least with the provinces involved, they can't take that jurisdiction because now it's provincial jurisdiction. So I don't know if Poilievre could really fucking change much. To be fair, he might try, but this is provincial jurisdiction. It'd be like fucking with their healthcare or their driver's licenses.
I think there's
federal healthcare legislation. Right?
I believe in the legislation for us to have legal cannabis. There's something in there about the provinces being able to reduce the number from 4.
Reduce the number to what?
From 4. I think there is something in there.
They can reduce it, but they can't up it. Yeah, it's absolutely.
Yeah, you can't go above 4, but they could turn around and say a province could turn around and say, yeah, you can only grow 2 plants.
You can't grow any. Yeah, they could absolutely do that. But that's the thing.
Well, Quebec did it, right? They did the 0 thing, and that went right to the Supreme Court of Canada. So.
And again, the feds weren't able to interfere, right? So that's what I mean. Are they going to be able to take it away if they can't even tell them what they can do about plant growing? So I think it's kind of like because healthcare is under the Federal Healthcare Act, right? Legislation. This is under the Canadian Cannabis Act, but then it goes and every province then writes its own Cannabis Act. So it's kind of like healthcare, right? Because I don't think Poilievre can touch it because it's not even with the abortion laws too.
I'm gonna have to look into that because I look at it as
right. The federal law was allowing for federally you could have an abortion, but in New Brunswick they just defunded it. So that there was just no surgical abortions for 4 years. They just didn't give them any money in the budget for that part of the health.
Oh yeah.
And there was nothing the federal budget could do about it because it's healthcare and it's
healthcare and
well, and cannabis too. Like I said, now that they've done that with cannabis, it's like liquor and tobacco. They can't make any regulations on that anymore at a federal level. It's all now provincial jurisdiction.
Yeah, I have to look at the exact wording.
Do for sure. But I'm pretty sure that's kind of when they kick it back to the province and it's out of there. It's like, no, you do.
Okay, last topic. We got 5 more minutes to go before the end of the show. Did you know that U.S. taxpayers spent almost $13 billion, that's a B, $13 billion to fund the global war on drugs over the past decade?
Oh, I'm surprised it's that little. With their,
So am I. I was too. I had, is that all?
Yeah, that's it. With them going to Cuba, and they got Guzman down there. They got the Mexican war going on right now too. Like they're meddling in that. Like they're all over the fucking place. The DEA. So how is that really? I think that's underinflated.
I think I thought it was low too.
Yeah, it's got to be flying around and driving little fucking helicopters. Come on. I mean, shit, they got an office in Canada. And whatever did come up about those Chinese police offices, right? Like, remember we were talking.
Oh yeah, here in Canada.
So is there little DEA offices? There was. We found out there was DEA offices in Canada too, right? So how much? Like that's what I mean. Like really, maybe I think that's an underinflated number.
They say yeah. Well, it says here they say for this upcoming year, the President Joe Biden requested $1 billion for international counter-narcotics activity. 480 million of that goes to the DEA.
What about the Border Patrol too? Like they got DEA sitting at the border too, right?
Yeah.
So like I said, that sounds like a small number.
Small number, yeah.
If that's all they're spending, that's the reason why they've got people coming across their fucking border.
They say now since 1971, the U.S. has spent more than $1 trillion on the war on drugs.
They wasted their money.
Prioritizing law enforcement responses and fueling mass incarceration within its borders.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where all those private prisons come into play.
Yeah, but it's a huge moneymaker for their corporate.
Oh, it is. Oh, big time.
Like they contract out all the meals, they contract out the laundry, they contract out anything to their, to Peter Lougheed's wife in Calgary for their food and their for their laundry. Wild Rose or Danielle, whatever. Yeah, it's all connected to the fucking provincial government. All that in Alberta. Yep. Anyway, yeah, it's a great big moneymaker.
Yeah, she's big bucks. I would have thought, but still, I would have thought it was going to be more than that 13 billion. If you look at $1 trillion, that's 29. That's 51 years. Yeah, 51, 52 years. $1 trillion. Would that seem like a low number over that many years?
Yeah, it does. It seems underinflated. And like I said, if that's all their money that they're spending, that's the reason why they're having so many fucking issues. Where's all the money for education for these people that you're incarcerating? Like they've cut so many funds, right? No, exactly, right? So then you let people out, so you're educating them to be better criminals while you put them in these mandatory jails.
Oh yeah, more training centers.
Right?
Yeah.
But let's incarcerate them all. So they can all come out, Yeah. It's ridiculous. But yeah, it's a big money making schmoz.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like I said, that's exactly what you see coming. Less little guys that don't have, corporate jobs or corporate connections or anything. We're the ones that I'm not saying we're struggling, because we're not like struggling. Like we can afford groceries and shit and my bills were paid. But I mean, I'm not getting ahead. Like I'm not got money in the bank. Right?
No.
But again, I never have. It's not like this is new, right? This is not a new phenomenon. I'm always
no. I completely agree. Believe me.
Right? So this is not a new phenomenon. So all these people, oh my god, I can't put money away. You didn't grow up in the 80s then either, when the interest rates were 13.5% on a mortgage.
Well, I'm still making the same money I made 22 years ago.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So it's just because there's no increase there. So
no,
fine, right? So there's no money to save there. That's for sure.
I guess your boss can't give you a raise to up your benefit raise. So there's no. Yeah. They don't get inflammatory. Yeah, I know. No, I understand.
There you go. Big money being spent. on that. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, have you got anything else you want to discuss? I see we're at the bottom of the hour.
No.
No. All right. Okay.
Except I'm doing my also. I totally gapped on Monday. I'm like, oh, yeah, 11 o'clock.
Oh yeah, the new time for the show.
I had to reset my Alexa, but my Alexa was going off at 11:30 to remind me about my show, and I went, I forgot. So yeah, I have to reset the Alexa. So this Monday at 10 a.m. I will be going live. Actually, I think I'm going to see.
No, that's 10 a.m. Mountain Time. That's
10 a.m. Mountain Time, noon Eastern Standard Time.
Noon Eastern Time.
3 o'clock on the East Coast. Yeah. So
All
it's
right.
a little earlier for me, and yeah.
Yeah, I seen your post. I just got Tavin to school, and I thought, okay, she didn't do her show.
Yeah, it was at 12. That was at 12:30, right? That's why I had to move it because he's got to be at school for 12:30, and I'm like, holy crap! I got but I ripped my damn room apart too, right? I got because to get everything kind of and I just got on a tangent. All of a sudden, my Alexa's going off at 11:30, going time for show, and I'm going. No, my time for show was supposed to be at 10. Damn it! Yeah, totally.
Got that reset so it goes off
I
properly.
put it all reset now. Yes, I do. It goes off at 9:30, saying get your ass out of bed because you have a show to do in a half an hour.
All right, sounds good. Half an hour. Not much time there. But I understand what you mean.
I'm up well before that. I'm up. The dog has me up at 7 a.m. I'm up well before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't have my dog doesn't get me up at 7 a.m.
Oh, the big guy does. It's because it's routine.
Gail gets me up at 6, 10 to 6 when her alarm goes off. So.
Oh yeah, I guess right. Yeah.
Yeah. All righty. Other than that, we're done. Other than that, like I said, we're done. You can find us on Twitter. No, we're not on Twitter anymore.
No, we're not. Blue Sky. Did you check it? We have Blue Sky, but we're not.
Yeah, we can't. Blue Sky only takes. You can't stream to Blue Sky, and they can only do 1-minute videos on Blue Sky.
Yeah. It's a baby. It's baby. It'll evolve. It'll get.
Yeah, I put the YouTube link there, and just a reminder for anybody who's watching, don't forget subscribe, hit that subscription button wherever it may be. I don't know, it might be down there. I don't know. Can't see it from here. So. All right. Thanks to our sponsors, Legacy420.com, Limestone City Hydroponics.ca, Campbellford Lifestyle Shop in downtown Campbellford, At-Eze.ca. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, Psychedelics Cannabis Educational News. Myself and my buddy Glenn should be returning. And other than that, we will see you then. Thank you, and good night. Bye-bye. Let's share PACE everywhere. That way it can help create peace. People everywhere advocating cannabis education.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.